Hello, everybody, and welcome to the free to play. Um, so I just went on a bit of a roadblock rant in my previous video that I just recorded that will not be coming out. So I need to recap some things for you guys real quick. First things first, we are still very consistent on Nightmare Clan Boss. Easy 4 key this week, and it just got even easier. We hit 42.51 million, and then it just got even easier. This morning, I pulled a not pulled, but I in the shop I bought the 1-star Ascension for Coffin Smasher, so we have more Phantom Touch, and I got the 2-star Ascension for Kale, which gives him a little bit of extra attack. Something that I went on a bit of a rant was about don't ignore faction guardians. I've actually been ignoring this on my account and been suffering for it because I had 10% attack just sitting on the table or not being used because I had an extra spirit host and didn't bother to put her in here. So this 10% attack is going to be a huge boost to my clan boss team, specifically my Kale, who is one of my bigger damage dealers on the account for clan boss. So this is going to be very, very beneficial to me. So now I went into a lot of detail about that in the previous video, and I shortened it quite a bit because I want to go into more detail about something else. But I also want to point out the double up summoning boosts. We will have a 2x event coming tomorrow. So for that event, I have currently 3 shards. Maybe we get one from Clan Boss. And then I will have a 4th one tomorrow that I will get from the monthly. So I will finish my dailies today, which will put me to 29. And then at reset tomorrow, which is 8 p.m. for me, I will then complete the dailies again and get this Sacred Shard for pulling on the account. I will be pulling shards on this account and on my main account tomorrow. And then I will pull them throughout the weekend if we happen to get any more. So really excited for that. And I did also go over what a 2x event is because I do think it's important to kind of let newer players understand what this means. So a 2x event means that you're going to have 2 times the chances of pulling a legendary, so 12%. These are the best odds that you ever have of pulling a legendary. Not ever, but these are some of the best odds that you get at pulling a legendary in the game. So this is quite important to, for any new account. But I love pulling Sacred Shards. They're my favorite shard to pull because even if I don't get a legendary, I still get an epic, and epics are always great. On a free to play account, especially because you can, sometimes they can a really strong epic can change the game. Look at what Ursula did for our account. I mean, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are right now if not for pulling an Ursula the Mourner. And I did get quite lucky, pulling such a strong Void epic very early on in the game. And I didn't even really understand her power until I got her built and have been able to see the impact that she truly brings. So she has been a huge blessing on the account. Oh, also, I didn't even mention this in the last video. We finally got a banner. We finally got a banner on Coffin Smasher, and it's an accuracy banner. It's only 4 stars, so I'm not, but the fact that it's better than nothing, and it did roll HP percentage on it. So we do get a little bit of extra damage out of him as well as health, of course. So really happy about that. So we really got a huge, huge boost to my clan boss team. So now I want to go into what my big rant was on my previous video that I didn't that won't be released. I shouldn't really call it a video. My previous recording, I guess. I'm trying to find the right words to get people to, for lack of a better word, listen to me. So we're on day 59 of this account. Now I started this account because I'm a clan leader. My main is on this is I'm Roadblock, and throughout the course of my time leading the clan, I've been telling my clan a lot of things. I've been saying, focus on clan boss, focus on, you should look for these buffs, look for these debuffs. I'm giving advice and doing things. And in particular, I noticed that during Clan v Clan, I had set a minimum. I said, okay, this was before you could do it in game. I just set a verbal minimum and said, hey, 10K, or else, basically. Um, and I thought that was an extremely achievable minimum, and it was. So we went into a personal rewards, and I was super excited, and I dumped all my resources. I had saved up many, many fragment summons. I had saved up many, many books and all kinds of resources in this game, and I had saved up in the forge everything. I dumped all of it into this personal rewards clan versus clan, and we lost. And when I looked back through the roster, I saw that a lot of people had 10K Clan v Clan points and had quit or had stopped at 10K. So I had to have a reality check with myself. I was like, okay, well, I do spend money on this game. Am I a dirty free to player? Like, am I asking too much? Is 10K hard to hit? So the only way I could answer that question would be to start a free to play account. I had also been preaching to everybody in my clan, focus on clan boss, focus on clan boss. Get your clan boss up. That gets you books, that gets you shards. And I get, people weren't really doing, listening, right? And so I started to wonder, like, am I wrong? Like, am I saying things that aren't true? Like, is clan boss not the secret to this game right now? As it stands right now, doing clan boss gets me a chance at all these great rewards. Why, like, what am I not understanding? So I decided to practice what I preach. And I made this free to play account, and I said, I'm going to make the account. I'm going to record it for my clan. This was originally, guys, this was, I early on, I was like, well, I'm going to make this for everybody. But when the concept in my head, I was like, this will be for the clan. I'll get 10 people are going to watch me, So I went and I made the free to play account, and I started, doing everything that I was practicing what I preach. I was hyper focused on clan boss. I leveled up Kale first as my 6-star. And I picked Kale as the starter even, like I focused on all these things. I went and I farmed certain champions. I got the Deacon early, on day one, and I did all these things that I preach about, right? And and I'd like to think that I've brought truth to my claims now. And this is not meant for me to be bragging or, I told you so. What I'm trying to get across here is that A, it is possible, it's not unachievable, and B, I mean, I might be right. I mean, like if we look at the fact that I am, and I haven't, the reason it's taken me a couple days to talk about this is because I wasn't 100% sure that we were locked in on Nightmare Clan Boss. I had a hiccup the other day where we didn't do it, where we did not get Nightmare down. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it was a fluke, maybe we can't repeat it. But now 3 out of the last 4 days, we've cleared Nightmare Clan Boss. So, like, we've arrived. Are we finished? No. And this isn't my swan song, or, we're going to keep going. But I wanted to point this out because as I was coming up in this account, if you go back and look at some of the earlier episodes, you'll see me complaining and calling people out in Clan Boss, people that were doing easy and normal with a team entirely full of legendaries. And in my previous rant, I called out Jarslim here for the fact that he has 4 legendary champions and had to 2 key hard. Something is wrong here. Uh Xavia, I think that's her name, right? Is a great clan boss champion because she does a ton of poisons. Um, she's got poisons on her A1, the big version, and on her A2. Um, and she activates her own poisons, or any poisons for that matter. Imagine pairing her up with a Gale. Are you kidding me? If I had a Xavia on my account, I'd probably be. I'm not gonna say something. I was gonna say I'd be 2-keying Nightmare, but certainly 3-keying because she's gonna activate all the poisons that she's applying and Kale's applying. Um, debuffs will only deal half of the standard damage when the skill hit. Okay, so it's halved on bosses, so maybe I am being a little maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit on being able to 2 or 3-key clan boss, but the fact still stands that that is an amazingly good champion for clan boss, and my guy here is 2-keying hard with her. So that leads me to believe that something else is going on that they're not doing. My guess would be speed. Right out the gate, it's probably speed. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It could be using flat stat gear. It could be, I mean, there's many things that could be going on here. And I'm not trying to call Jarslim out. I'm not trying to be insulting or anything like that. I'm saying that if you look at the things that I've been saying and you know, the one champion at a time. A big part of this could be masteries too. That's another thing that we haven't talked about. If none of those champions are mastered, it really hinders their effectiveness, let alone books. I don't know how long Jarslim's been playing or how many books he has on those champions, but he may not have any books on them, which can be a big impact. That's why I'm so focused on rares early on in the free to play, because I get a ton of rare books in this game and I've only had like 6 or maybe 5 legendary tomes, right? Um, and thankfully, I only have 1 legendary. I say thankfully, it sounds crazy for someone to say thankfully I only have 1 legendary, but having 1 legendary, that's where all the books go. Boo, 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 So hopefully, now that we're farming Nightmare, we're going to get more books and be able to start, focusing more on epics and legendaries as we progress the account. But I personally feel like anybody with a team like that, I'm just checking to see if they did try to run Nightmare at all. So I do feel like and I'm going to check to see if they tried to run Brutal either, and they did not. So if you have a team like this, and you're only 2-keying hard, you might want to take a look, go back through some videos and look at what we did on my team to get the maximum value. So for example, Kale, we have 100% crit rate, low crit damage, but 100% crit damage, and then we focus on attack and accuracy, right? Because that's what we need. Accuracy banner. We need to land those poisons. For Coffin Smasher, again, another rare. We've got accuracy. We've got HP because he's an HP based champion, which, are you like what imagine for a second, and I'm not saying this is true, but imagine for a second if you're new to the game and you're stacking attack on an Artak. Artak is an HP-based champion. You can put all the attack on him that you want. He's not going to increase his damage, or stacking defense on other champions that you like stacking defense on Sun Wukong, and even here, where, for me, I would love to be able to pick that blessing. The blessing he's using is a great PvP blessing. I couldn't remember the name of it. It's called Soul Reap. Basically, once you get a champion within 4% of their HP, you kill them, right? Um, Really, really great for PvP. I have this on most of my PvP nukers because I only have to do 96% of, well, and even here, 92%, right, of their HP. So it's a great ability. Doesn't do jack for you on Clan Boss. And so because Clan Boss is my focus, and I told you, we've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, Clan Boss is my focus, so I pick Brimstone because that is my focus. Now, at some point, I will replace Sun Wukong on my Clan Boss team. But until that time comes, I will be running Brimstone because whatever other blessing I give him has no impact on the most important part of the game for me. And I see this kind of stuff a lot. People that are like running Rhonda in Clan Boss, perfectly fine. She is a legendary. She hits hard. You're going to get a lot of damage out of her, especially with her ally attacking feature. But you're going to want to build her for that purpose. You're going to want her to be fast. You're going to want her to be to be crit capped and good crit damage, but also getting a little bit of survivability in there as well. Because or else she's just gonna. One of the reasons that Sun Wukong has been so good for me on my account is because of his self revive. So I was able to build him high damage but super squishy, and then he would just come back to life. It didn't matter that he would die in Clan Boss. But if you build, one of Rhonda's biggest weaknesses is that she's very squishy. If you were to go really crazy in attack on a Rhonda, and then have zero survivability and then have no supports to back her up, well, she's just gonna die and then not do any damage for you. And you may think, well, she doesn't die until like 10 turns in or whatever. Well, it's it's, for me, it's like a 14, 15 turn fight. Like, that's a lot of turns that she's not doing damage. So these are all, important things to consider. The point that I really am trying to sink in and kind of get home is that Clan Boss is easy, and B, one of the most frustrating things for me that I see, and we had a clan member that did this. I actually kicked him, and I felt bad about it. I talked to my clan about it afterwards. Everybody understood. There was no hard feelings, or maybe for him, but not for anybody else. And it was because they weren't putting into practice what I'm preaching. And I worry that many of you that are watching this series and trying to learn and take lessons from this are saying like, okay, well, I'm going to keep pulling ancients until I get a Kale. I was like, no. I'm not saying that you need to get a Gale. You don't need to get a Coffin Smasher. You don't need to go get an Eris. Those were the tools I used at the time because I didn't have anything better. You can use the tools in front of you, but you need to optimize those tools. You need to make sure that they are focused in a singular direction. I've been leveling up one champion at a time, and I've been getting masteries on those champions one at a time as well. This ensures that I get a very strong champion. I go into arena constantly, and I was talking about this today. I almost beat a Taras. For those of you new to the game, I'm going to call him the most, but that could be partly because of my inexperience. But as far as I know, the best PvP character in the game right now is Taras, and he's even better when he has his partner Marishka. But Taras hits like a truck. He is crazy good. His kit is amazing. I'm not going to go into detail on it. But a Terras should almost always one-shot a Kale if they're built properly. The guy I was fighting up against, I don't know how he had his Terras built. I don't know what he did right. I don't know what he did wrong. I have no way of ever knowing that. But my team survived for like 2.5, 3 minutes against this guy. And they still won because he's an incredible champion. But it was crazy to me that somebody was lucky enough to pull this crazy good champion and not be able to one shot my squirrely little, Kale based team. So, if you are struggling, the secret isn't champions. The secret isn't, oh, I can't do this until I get a Deacon Armstrong, or I can't do this until I get Demitha, or Geomancer, or any of those things. You have to find value with the account that you have, but the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to be singularly focused, is to pick that avenue and say, this is the direction I want to go. Now, my recommendation for that direction is Clan Boss. We've talked about it a million times, but I'm going to talk about it again. It's the only place where you can get sacred shards from farming. You can get them in other areas like Doom Tower, and you can buy them in the Brazier? I don't know how to say that. There's other ways to get sacreds. But for a free-to-play account, or any account for that matter, this is a great, Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare is a great place to get that on top of legendary books and epic books. So my recommendation is always to focus on Clan Boss and get to at least 4-key Nightmare before you start branching out and looking at other things in the game. It took me 2 months, 60 days to get to that comfortable point, and I've got food ready to go for my next champion. I mean, if we look at my account, I've already got 3 5-star chickens ready to go. They might go to Husk, but hopefully I'll pull a better champion tomorrow, and maybe even a legendary. But it is a little bit where I'm bragging, admittedly, but I'm not doing it to be like, haha, gotcha. I'm doing it to be like, it works. My advice is sound. And I've kind of proven it. So, if you're struggling and you want to get better, take some time, take a step back, pick a character and say, all right, I'm going to get this character right. I'm going to get this character's speed up. I'm going to get this character's accuracy up. I'm going to get their gear right. I'm going to make sure they have the right gear. So one big step that I plan on, and I'm going to make a video about it, I'm going to try and change out some of Kale's gear this weekend and see if we can drop the lifesteal gear finally and maybe get a little bit of extra accuracy and damage out of him. Now, I got very, very lucky, and I have great pieces here, so I probably won't be able to do it, but we're gonna experiment and see what we can do. So, because I feel confident that we'll still be able to succeed now that I have a reviver. So even if he does happen to die, which I don't think he will, because he has War Master and we have a lifesteal champion. But we'll cover that in a later video. But really kind of take a step back and focus on one character. So to pull it full circle, and I feel terrible calling people out about this, but Jarslim's just such a great example. I mean, not all of these are great Clan Boss champions. Zavia is definitely one of them. I think Stagnite is one of them. He brings decreased defense and decreased attack and decreased speed. Syl brings your healing, so you don't need to have lifesteal gear and you don't need to have leech because she just heals your team up, and she's defense based, so she should live. Artak hits pretty hard. He has HP burns that he also activates. And Sun Wukong is not a champion that I would recommend if you have better options. So I wonder what is on Jarslim's account. Like, imagine if he had a Kale. I would probably take a Kale over a Sun Wukong not using Brimstone, especially next to Zavia. So, um, but if it were me, if I was watching this video and it clicked in my head, okay, I need to do something more. I need to fix this. My first focus would be Zavia. Let's try and get a Zavia that's similar to the Kale on Roadblock's account. Meaning we want her to be crit capped. We want her to have maximum crit damage. Um, and we want to have a certain speed and figure that all out, so perception gear and things like that. Okay, we got her to the level that we want. Next would be maybe Syl, or work one champion at a time and dig yourself kind of out of this rut. Now, you may not even know that you're in a rut, but two keying hard with this roster, I can one key hard with my roster, by my roster. So um definitely need to take a step back and maybe me reassess kind of where you're at. And I use Jarslim as an example because I'm willing to bet there are many of you watching this right now that are just like, I still can't figure it out. What is Roadblock doing? Is Kale just that good? And it's like, no, Kale is not that good. He's just free at the very beginning of the game. You click a button and now you have a Kale guaranteed, right? Um, in fact, I'd probably take Petrifia over Kale with her poison sensitivity. Now, Kale brings value in other areas of the game while also being good at clan boss and being free from the start. So, but the thought has crossed my mind about potentially switching to Petrifia at some point in the future. So, I apologize for the long rant. This was, believe it or not, much shorter and nicer than my previous one. But the biggest point that I want to sink home is I'm trying to find the right words because I want to say that I was right. um, you don't need a whole bunch of legendaries to find success in this game. You need to find the value, but most of all, understand the value. Which brings me to the end of the video where I will let you guys know I don't have as many questions as I would like going into the weekend for question block. So if you have any questions about what I've shared today, what I've said today, the advice that I'm giving, if you are wondering maybe more specific things that I'm not saying, because I don't know what you guys don't know, right? So I don't know if I'm saying the right things or saying it in the right way to get it across to you guys, because a lot of this stuff is just like breathing for me at this point. I've been playing the game for so long and studying it and watching videos, so you just start hearing things and saying things and understanding things. Oh yeah, accuracy. I need accuracy for poisons to land. And a newer player might be like, okay, I need accuracy for poisons. Cool. Oh, this champion has decreased defense. I'm going to make him a defense. I'm going to put defense gear on him or something. And it's like, well, no, you need accuracy on him. Well, no, he's not using poisons. Or you see what I'm saying? Like it's very easy to get confused and not understand certain parts of the game. We were talking in my clan chat about how one of the biggest things for me, especially, was not understanding speed. I had percent-based boots on all of my characters. I had attack boots on my Elhain. I had HP boots on my Armiger, or defense boots on my Armiger. You know, HP boots on the early healers that I got, my early supports, because I didn't know how important speed is. And I will tell you right now that one of the reasons I'm finding so much success on Clan Boss is probably got to do with speed more than anything else. Because I'm able to take multiple turns before the Clan Boss takes a turn. It's not a huge ratio. I'm not like on a 3-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-1 ratio or anything like that. But I'm able to make sure that I'm rotating those turns through and a lot of that has to do with speeding up my own team with Deacon. And so I could go on and on. This is why I like question block for this kind of stuff, because I can target specific subjects instead of this broad scope of how to understand the game. But because of the discussions I was having with my clan today, I kind of wanted to broach it and say, like, um, that this is a great example of how you can find success in this game. And it's not that I got crazy lucky. Is Ursula a great champion, and am I lucky to pull her? Absolutely. But it's not like I pulled a Zavia and it's not like I pulled a Zavia, have an Artak, and all these other, and I'm, oh man, yeah, they have a Sill, so they must have been playing for a long time. I mean, they're at least 180 days if they have a Sill. So um so that's the point. That's why I make these videos, is to give you guys advice. I try not to be too demanding and say you have to do it this way. Like, there are other ways to go about it, but if you're struggling, please genuinely consider taking some of my advice. All right. I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way. I hope this isn't like old man yells at cloud or anything like that. I want to get all the knowledge that I have out to you guys, and I feel like one of the great things that I'm able to bring to this platform is my way to speak to it and present it. Um, and I really wanted to come across. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. Please put in the comments any questions you have for Question Block. I'll be recording that this weekend. I'm very excited to answer some questions and probably go on another rant, as I seem to do. We should call me. I need to change the name on my channel to Rant Block instead of Roadblock. But all right, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.